Okay, welcome back to Rails Minute. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Bostrom, Rails Member Engagement Manager, and I'm here with Deirdre Brennan, Rails Executive Director. Rails Minute is our effort to bring you short videos where you can find out more about what is happening with Rails. Deirdre, I was hoping to get an update from you on our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Initiative. There are a lot of projects in the work, the subcommittees, staff training, a new grant. Can you talk about all of these as much as you can?
I'll try in 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, right. And how
longer
sort of
than a minute today, right?
right.
Yeah. So,
We won't be timing you, but
right. Okay.
How do they tie together?
Sure. Well, this is Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Initiative is a very big priority for our board and for our staff, and I think for our members as well. So yes, we have a couple different things going on. The first thing we started was some staff training. We are working with the consultant Elizabeth Lindsay Ryan, and we have to really work on our Rails culture, our internal, situation. And so we have a climate team that you and I are both on. I think there's about 10 people, all different parts of Rails. And we are charged with kind of, getting the first training and then working with Biz and with each other and with additional staff to actually develop plans to improve our culture as it relates to equity, diversity, and inclusion. Just as an example, we've been one of the first things that we did was during the climate team meetings is that we talked about relationships between, say, staff and staff, or staff and board. Okay. Staff and members, obviously. And the questions were, what's going well, what should we stop doing, and what should we start doing as it is about, EDI relationships. So that's the internal piece. And and at the same time, the entire staff has been attending training is required, monthly training with Biz. It's all via Zoom, which is not great, but I think it's gone really well. She's great. And so now the first module is done. And so now the climate team is, moving forward to think about some next steps and plans and things like that. Do you think I described that pretty well?
Yeah, the team is definitely making some progress. I'm pleased about what's happened so far. So
yes. The other thing is that the board, as evidence of their own commitment, did establish an equity, diversity, and inclusion committee that is chaired by Diane Hollister, one of our board members who is on the board at the Bloomington Public Library. And we have, it's made up of a combination of member library staff and board members. There's about 25 people on there, and also working with Biz. And that group has a charge, which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's on the committee website, on our website. And, really the basic goal is to, figure out ways that we can help libraries with these issues. So to that goal, the committee established 3 subcommittees to actually do specific projects, because we're very interested in actually, producing something that's helpful. So one subcommittee is focused on recruitment, hiring, and retention, and their project is probably going to be around the hiring process and interviewing and retention issues, culture issues related to hiring. How to be sure that you are incorporating EDI concepts into all of that whole process, so that you can begin to diversify your culture, make it more equitable, make it more inclusive. Another subcommittee is focusing on training for staff, but also for the leadership of a library and the board of a library in these concepts. Because one thing that Biz has taught us is that everybody's in a different place, and there's a whole vocabulary. I mean, there's, what does equity mean, really? Yeah. So, and, you know, maybe this subcommittee's project might be about, you know, having difficult conversations with, you know, patrons. Upstander training is one example, looking at things through an EDI lens. And then the other subcommittee is about programs and services and outreach. And I think what they might focus on is getting together a really good list of programmers that you know, program around this area, or that their programming is infused with these with EDI ideas and concepts. There's also a grant program that Joe Philippek is overseeing for. You know, we've done these CE grants in the past for networking groups or groups of libraries who want to join together to, you know, put on a CE program. And this is this year it's specifically focused on EDI topics and programs. So that's what's going on. There's a lot going on, and I'm hopeful that we'll have some real results, you know, by the end of the summer, or by the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm particularly impressed by the subcommittees. I mean, any one of those individual subcommittee projects would be a huge thing, but to have 3 of them happening at the same time is a lot of heavy lifting. And I know there's a lot of interest behind it. Yeah.
We're struggling to find a balance between, you know, meeting and working with the committees and everybody actually having time to get work done. So
of course, yeah. Okay, for those who don't know, Find More Illinois is our service that helps improve interlibrary loan. We've had some developments with Find More Illinois, including adding our first non-automated library. And there's also recent discussion with LinkedIn libraries.
Yes.
What does this all mean, and where is it going?
So Find More Illinois, yes, it is it's a product from Autographics. The product name is Share It, and it does facilitate interlibrary loan between libraries that are not in a shared catalog. And it's a much easier and cheaper alternative to OCLC for the you know, growing number of libraries that cannot afford OCLC or choose not to use it for ILL or resource sharing. So one library, I believe it's Johnsville, has come on board with Find More Illinois to load its, you know, resources into this platform so that they will be available, you know, on the internet, which is, you know, obviously the fundamental goal of resource sharing, available in Find More Illinois eventually. And then at the other, so that's like helping a library get automated, which is the first step. And then at the other end of the spectrum are the LinkedIn libraries, which are a group of pretty large public library standalones. For example, Arlington Heights, Wheaton, Skokie, and about, I think there's 10 of them altogether, and they've been using a product from Innovative Interfaces. They are interested in Find More and what that might allow them to do as well. So it's very exciting because they have, you know, great collections, and we really think that Find More is an important alternative for libraries that either cannot afford to join a consortium or just prefer not to. It's sort of the middle ground, and so we're really pleased that it's you know, it's starting to really take hold, as you said.
Yeah, you said the name of the library. It's Waynesville.
Waynesville, sorry.
No, you were very close. You were very close. But that's great, and it's cool to see this service expanding, and see more libraries taking advantage of it. And I hope that those discussions go well, because
Right.
I think the more that people use it, the better it will get to.
And sorry, Waynesville.
Okay, so what else is happening around Rails? What else would you like people to know about?
Well, I think maybe you're going to share a little bit about the virtual programming work that's going on.
I will, yeah. And this is a question that I think we've fielded a lot from our member libraries. And first of all, I want to say that it's wonderful to see libraries cooperating on joint online programming. We're seeing the demand for this stuff really explode, and people really being interested in cross-library programming, cooperative events, series of events. We've seen so many suggestions out there. The desire for this type of thing is real. We've been in discussions with one particular group, which is just getting underway basically with a survey, and they've launched a survey. If you haven't been able to see it, take a look. It's in the e-news. You can also find a link to it in our news section of our website. And then we've also, as a system, we've created an FAQ to sort of help people and kind of answer some of the questions. One of the biggest questions we've frequently gotten is, can we as a system purge a high capacity Zoom license for our libraries? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. It's just been a little difficult for us to figure that out. But we've come up with a lot of other resources. We've indicated some places to look for things, and kind of some directions where people can go in terms of setting these things up themselves. And I think that this is a good path towards more cooperation across the system.
Absolutely, and in terms of us buying the, for, as an example, a very large, Zoom license, it's prohibitively expensive to, to keep it going. And plus we don't have the purse power to, to manage it with all the, I think there are other alternatives like, streaming or YouTube, whatever, so I'm glad that I'm glad that this is getting underway. I think this is a service that isn't going to go away. It might not be used to the extent that it has in the pandemic, but it's another way of serving the public.
Yeah, and because of our structure as a system, we just have more opportunity to do this stuff on a really big, really big stage. So it's cool. Okay, so this is the point where we turn to member questions. And if you do have a question, you can either leave a comment below, or you can email them to communications@railslibraries.info. We've talked a lot about school library data here and in other places, and how that can be improved in Illinois. So I understand that there are some recent developments, including meeting with some outside organizations like Follett. Would you be willing to talk more about this?
Sure. We've been, as you say, talking for a while about this. We are determined to get a better picture of the situation, for lack of a better word, in school libraries. We know that they've experienced a lot of changes, not good ones, because of the pandemic, in terms of losing staff, losing budgets. So we're embarking on this, and obviously we do certification every year so that we have some information, but we really want to know more about what their budget situation is, what their staffing level is, because it's just so important that children have access to good school libraries and trained school librarians. And there's definitely a gap in the data in Illinois. So Follett, which is a big vendor for schools, is helping us a little bit. Now I want to make it very clear that they are not sharing anything, that it's all anonymized. It's just, we're just trying to get at whatever we can get at. They're not doing anything that is in any way violating any contract or privacy, or they're just helping us to get a slightly better handle on what's going on. We at Rails have also filed 2 FOIA requests with the Illinois State Board of Education, ISBE, because that's the only way you can, or the way that they prefer to, deliver information to you. So we got one response, but it was at a really high level. So we're kind of digging deeper at this point. Again, determined to get a better sense of what's going on in school libraries. I know that the state library feels exactly the same way, because how can we, help school libraries? How can we, design programs or services or, grant programs at the school, at the state library level, for schools if we don't know what they need, we don't know what their situation is. So that's where we are with that.
All right. Well, the work continues.
Yep.
Okay, Deirdre. Well, thank you for joining me. That'll be it for this week's Rails Minute. And
one final word.
Oh, all right. Great. Okay.
Vote in the Rails board election. It's open through May 7th. It's right on the front of the website. Please vote.
400 libraries, 400 votes.
Yes, at least.
At least. That's good. Setting our sights high.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.